ain't going back. Not gonna buy into all that. Hey, hey, ain't gonna hide. Gonna let all the fears slide. Got Mother Nature on my side. Got all of the loving growing inside.
Hello, everyone. Welcome again to the Odyssey of Truth. I'm here with Cambell, and Cambell is here with me. We're still in our Escape to Freedom series, and this is going to be an Odyssey of Truth special. We'll call it our summer-winter special, as it's summer where I am and winter where Cambell is. And this one will be titled Freedom First. We're still in the process of doing our series with the guests. We just took a pause with that. Cambell was away in Melbourne, was it, doing his event? And then, so we're together again, and we are back in the saddle, and we've been discussing even before we got on there what we feel is the most important thing for anybody that's listening, anybody that wants to come along with us, whether it's our freedom shift or their own freedom shift or their own life. It's putting freedom first and what that can mean for them and their lives.
Yes, indeed.
Hello, Cambell.
Hello, Lorenzo. How are you going? Yeah, I've just come back from Melbourne, and Melbourne was basically the most locked down city for the last couple of years. So it was a very apt topic. And the thing is with Melbourne is now it's a population that's more than half. Unfortunately, it'd be most people are just these beaten down people, right? They've given up. They've got no will left. They're walking around with these things still on, even though there's no mandates or anything. And then there's another group of people that have grown through the whole experience, because they were the ones who stood and said, "We're not, no, you don't get to tell me what to do. I make my own rules." And so they went through this process of through 2 years of becoming more free and more, sovereign, if we want to use that word, but standing, in their power, while the other people gave their power away. So this is ultimately what freedom is we all are born free, and our choice is, do we hold on to that and stand in that power, or do we give it away when people tell us to?
Yeah, I mean, we've discussed all kinds of things in our Odyssey of Truth, from, intent to sovereignty to imagination to love. And in my opinion, none of it really matters if you're not free, right? And what does that mean? How do you get there? And how can you put that first? I would say, if I'm going to look at some of the challenges we've had, or some of the challenges, let's say, people have had with us, if you like, is when you decide that you're going to put your freedom first. Maybe at times you appear not nice, and maybe at times you appear a little selfish. Maybe at times you appear a little centered in your duty to yourself, your family, your life, your community. But without that freedom, the rest, it seems to me, is a waste of time. And, at best, you're just kind of treading water. And if you want to get free, you have to see how you are not free, and then do the work which requires you to be free. And in my opinion, if you don't do that, you're missing your own boat. We talked about that too, escape, the ship of fools. And what that means is that has to come first. That's why I'm calling this freedom first. So whatever that means for you has to be first, regardless of what anyone says.
Yeah. I mean, this is the thing about freedom. The more you give it away, the more someone says, "Oh, it's a good job, it pays more, even though it'll take you away from your life for another 20 hours. But that we sell these little bits of freedom along the way until we end up in a place where it seems that we're stuck, right? Because we've sold ourselves into a jail pretty much. And so this is the thing. I mean, what good is it having anything, right? What good is it having the Ferrari, having the house, if you want those things, or the relationship, or the whatevers, if you're not free? And we see this all the time. We see these massive houses, right? And they got their Ferrari in the carport, but they only get to drive that Ferrari once every few months, right? When they've got a spare hour or two that they've finally got together, because they're slaves to the job, to making the money, right? To bringing the incoming. And so this is, we've been sold this idea that that's freedom because of what we see, because we see, oh my gosh, look, they've got money. They don't worry about bills. They can travel. Oh, they must be so free. But are they really? This is the thing. I don't think freedom is found in the system. The system is completely made up to take away our freedom and to make us controllable, and to use us to give other people freedoms. So Yeah, this is the thing. We definitely need to freedom. I think has to be the foundation. If you know if it's the wrong foundation, then you're going to end up somewhere wrong, right? So I think freedom, and we've been taught to not, you know, it's weird, isn't it? Because all the heroes that we're taught that they all fight and live, and a lot of them die for freedom, and they're the most, revered kind of heroes. But then in society, anyone talking about freedom or something different, they're no, 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 you can't do that. No, you've got to push them people to the side. But when you go through life, you find out that those people who, the crazy ones who stick to their guns, they're happy as when they're 40, 50. They're still doing what they want. And everyone else is at the point where they're getting divorced, they're overweight, they're getting health issues, all these things. So, instead of going through all that, and, maybe you have been through that, if you always, live your life with freedom as the main goal and everything else builds around that, then you will always be free, right?
And the most important thing I would say is you can't care what anyone thinks. Even your wife or your husband or your children, or if you are children, your parents, if you need to be free. I sent out our e-blast recently. Now, it was a very good quote by Vernon Howard. It says, the man who tore apart his house is the only one who can put it back together. And it was one of the most amazing quotes I ever read. And what that means, in my opinion, is however you made your life unfree, whatever that is for you, whether it's spiritually, energetic, healthfully, monetarily, geographically, relationship related, food related, exercise, fill in your own blanks. You are the only man and woman or woman who can redirect whatever you tore down to build it back up. So however you're not free is how you need to be free. Whatever you're doing that, change you to your life that you don't like, or a life of slavery, and that would be up to you to decide, is how you can be free. So not only should no one else tell you how you can be free, no one else can tell you how to be free. Because the details of what enslaved you, like, I'm still studying it, right? I'm not a little boy anymore. I've been around and I've been doing this for more than 30 years, from our website to our books to what I'm doing with Cambell on Oddyssee of Truth to a lot of the other videos I'm making. And every day I'm seeing new things I need to fix about myself, how I'm selfish, how I'm worried, how I'm concerned, how I'm not healthy, how I'm, not nice to my wife, how I'm not nice to myself, how I've been, holding resentment to my parents since I was 12, whatever. These are just some of the things that have come up since I've talked with Cambell last. We talked, I guess we recorded about 3 weeks ago now. And this is all new for me to my surface and what I need to do. So if I need to fix my relationship with my parents, if I need to fix my relationship with money, if I need to fix my relationship to my health or my geographical location, or even my dreams and what I want to create, only I know how to do that. And anyone, getting in the way, saying, well, Lorenzo, you should do this, or that's not freedom, or, if you do more of this, less of that, or I can't believe you're, I've had some people give me weird comments about, just mentioning people are too fat, which I think, in my opinion, if you mention that, my wife's going to laugh. She says, you talk about it every time, but you're being nice to them. You're going, be healthy, right? Or if someone is stuck somewhere, and if you're sharing, like, people I don't care about, I won't say anything to. People I feel I'm wasting my time with, I won't open my mouth. I'll smile, shake their hand, be polite, and keep moving. It's when you say the hard things, and Cambell and I have shared a lot of it, and I guess that means we like you folks, and we love you folks, and we'd like you to be free with us. It means we care, right? I mean, even though it's hard to care these days, but if you don't care, you don't say anything. And so freedom first has to be up to you. And there is no polite or impolite way to do that, in my opinion. I would say whatever works. You have a finite time here. You're only alive for, let's say you live 100 years. Let's say you're lucky, like a lot of the Japanese people or people in Okinawa that supposedly live past 100 or 120, some of them somewhere in the Mediterranean, I hear they do too. Doesn't really matter. Even if you live that long, you have to take control of your life as fast as possible to be free, or else you won't make it.
Yeah, pretty much. And a big one is freedom of mind, right? But more than that is freedom of, getting so offended. If it's like Lorenzo was saying, if there's something, if you have an issue, or if someone says something directly to you, or just passing, and you get offended, that's a message for you that you've got an issue. That's not a tag for you to start yelling at someone. That's just a message for you to fix yourself. and you have the choice. And if you ignore that, then you'll find that you get that message again, and they keep getting bigger the more you ignore them. So, and put next to that is, if people tell you to change, or say this is the best thing for you, they understand they don't know. That there's no possible way they could know. And even if it's the perfect thing for them and it fixed all their problems, doesn't mean it's going to do anything for you, because you're not them and they're not you. This is the thing. Like, everything you has to come back to you, because the way you see the world, the way you work in the world, the way your belief systems work, it's unique to you. No one else. You can sit there and actually, I used this the other day. Is two people can be talking, and one person can be explaining this animal. It's covered in fur, and it's got a tail, and it's got teeth, and it's got these four legs. And one person is seeing a lion, and the other person is seeing a dog, right? But they think they're talking about the same thing. Now, this happens all the time. People want people to when people want to start things and do things, they want people to come along with them. Oh, but I need this support group before I get started. But that's not how it works. You got to get started first, because it's got to be you, and it's got to be you choosing to be free and choosing that you have the power and the will and the decision to do that. When you do that and take action, then the support comes in. It doesn't work the other way around. So everything starts with freedom. It just does.
We've been trained, some more than others, to look for agreements, or it's okay, or is that all right that I do this? Is that all right that I don't do that? And if that's the case, and it has been for me, that could be a first place to look at how you need to be free. Because getting back to only you can decide what you need, once you've made that choice, maybe no one else will see it. Maybe a million people will tell you you're wrong. Maybe the whole world will say you shouldn't be doing that. And it really doesn't matter, because that, as Cambell said, that's just the first challenge in being free. Let's say you're going to get that hill you need to climb, because without the challenge, there's no reward, right? Without the effort, you're not going to figure something out, and it won't mean anything to you. If it's handed to you, it won't mean anything to you. So the more unfree you are in whatever way you need to be free, the bigger the challenges are going to come. And generally, I found no one's going to be there to tell you it's okay or not okay. If you're lucky, maybe you'll have a best mate, or maybe you'll have a good relationship, or maybe you have some cohorts that kind of agree with you, and it helps you, but it really doesn't matter. If you need to do something, you need to do something. And if everyone's in your face telling you you're wrong, and your hearts, your guts, your intuition is telling you it's right, then once again, that's why we're calling this one freedom first. That's what has to come first, regardless if nobody likes you at the end of it. Doesn't matter.
That's the quest. That's the choice. That's the challenge being tested. I'm going to do this, and it happens every single time. When you declare that you're going to make a change and do something different, circumstances always come up to try and stop you, and and really, the way to look at it is that it's asking, are you serious? Are you going to give up, like, just because at the first challenge, or are you serious? And that's all that is, and so that's all you need to see. It's not like, oh my God, poor little me, I'm trying to do something and the whole world's against me. No, the whole world's actually for you. It's trying, because the thing is, and we hear it all the time, people win lotto, they win the millions of dollars, and 5 years later they're worse off than they were before they won the lotto. Why? Because they haven't become the people that have the energetic field to be a millionaire, and the mental and the mindset. They're not there, so they literally can't keep that $1 million. So anything that we want, the whole journey is so that we become the person that deserves it. Because unless we do that, we can't have it. Even if someone hands it to us, we'll lose it. And so this is, why we need to listen to ourselves, because it's only us that can keep us on course. Everyone else will take us off course, even if they've got the best intentions. They don't know what's best for you. So, be free of mind, and trust. But this all does come back to, you can't let other people tell you what to do. You can't let them direct you. You can't let them, and you can't let them. I was going to say, Gandhi, right? What was his quote? The truth is still the truth, even if it's in the what does he say? Even if there's only one person who believes it, basically. And just saying that Gandhi quote, a lot of people will probably get triggered saying Gandhi, he was this, and he wasn't who we're told. He was a sellout. Who cares? Like seriously, why are you getting triggered? Like the knowledge is in the quote, right? I mean, that's it. All this triggering, that's you again, like not being free because other people are running your thoughts for you, right? That's not you. So choose to be free. It's much better. And unless you're free, until you're free, you're not actually yourself, and so you cannot be living your best life.
Yeah, but wherever the information comes from doesn't really matter. If anybody knows a troll or anybody has watched the trolls on the social media, and I've seen so many of them, they never attack the message, right? They always attack the messenger. And by doing that, it's showing you the lack of intelligence, in my opinion, is they never want to debate the point itself because they would lose the debate. So don't be a troll on your own conscious evolution for freedom, because if Gandhi made a good quote, and I've heard lots of bad things about him too, whatever, your truth is your truth, and that's what I feel he means by that. And if you are in a group of one and you have to do something, I mean, you don't want to hurt anybody, you don't want to cause any damage, you don't want to do any of those things. But causing people, like you said, if you're offending people, if you're giving people emotional stress, as long as you're not going out of your way to be a mean person, and just your actions to being free is stressing those around you, like say you're changing your job or you're changing your diet or you're changing your geographical location, and the people in your life are stressed and don't want to go with you or do want to go with you. I mean, I've seen some comments below some of our things go, I want to be free too, and you can't say everyone can be free because what if you have a duty to your kids or your wife or your mortgage or your this, and I would say
Choice.
blow it off. Right? If you're using that as an excuse to not be free, that's your life and that's okay. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. If you feel that has to chain you into your life and you've got no choice, then that's your life and that's fine by me. Right? But on the other hand, if you're still feeling miserable, if you're still feeling bad, if you're still feeling like you have to be free, maybe you deciding to leave your family behind will be good for them. Now, I'm not saying anybody should. Maybe you leaving a job will be good for everyone. Everything I've ever done that was hard in the first place, that pissed off people around me, eventually ended up being fantastic for the people that are still with me. I'm meeting some amazing people such as Cambell and many others now that have joined their Freedom Shift and are coming on, that only came because Cambell decided, we decided to do this together. We decided to keep moving. We decided to share our challenges and our dirty underwear, in public occasionally, and and all those other things. And then suddenly, through all the challenges, it's starting to gel. More people are coming our way. We're meeting a lot of good people that want to help this freedom shift, this shift to their own freedom work. And because of that, because we decided to stand in our own, like I'm alone in a room here, Cambell's alone in his bus over there. Cambell's got a family. I've got a family in my way. But we've all had our challenges to get to where we are, regardless of what anyone said. And because of that, we get to be the kind of people that are leading the way to freedom by being free ourselves. Not because we're great, but because we're doing it. And the reason I'm sharing that, it simply means anyone with some dedication to what they need to do and is ready to put the excuses in the garbage bin, whatever they are. I don't want to hear any of them. Anybody wants to type any comments below, whatever, I don't care. There's no excuse, in my opinion, that's good enough to not be free.
I agree. It's all choice. You can talk yourself, out of anything. But in the end, you're the one that has to live the life, right? You have to go through the experience. And it's like that, again, that saying, if you argue for your shortcomings, you get to keep them, So this is the thing. I mean, the way I look at it is, where's this all taking you? Like people just get wrapped so much in, oh my God, I'm offended and this and this and that and that. But in the end, if you sit down and like, well, is this making my life better or is it making my life worse? It might give you a bit of perspective, because you'll find out you're just living someone else's life. That they're, and this is the thing, when people change, the energy changes. This is why when we choose to change, everyone, like sees us differently, and they're like, hang on, and we get these different reactions. But the same thing with Lorenzo and I, when we decide that we're going to value ourselves more, that what we do is valuable, and that we deserve, a life of abundance, that rubs some people up the wrong way. And the only reason is because they don't believe that for themselves. All right, because we've been right, we've been programmed, right, that that no, only, you know, the mean and the bad people, only they have wealth and abundance, right? If you're about truth and about real things, you can't have abundance. How dare you have a good life if you're out there trying to help people, right? This is, and this is popping up everywhere at the moment. But just like I said before, understand that that's something that you need to sort out about you. It's got nothing to do with me all around. So it's got nothing to do with anyone but you, as with everything in your life. Got nothing to do with anyone but you. That's just the point. And you know, if you feel that you're trapped, you always have options. Go on to YouTube. There are people who take their families. I've seen people living on boats with little kids in vans, traveling around. You know, these kids hiking through mountains. You know, you can do whatever you want. If you choose that you can't, then it's a choice, and you've only got yourself to blame. And that you know, but you always have the freedom to change that choice.
Yeah, I've seen people living in the woods in BC when I was there. I remember being envious of a very handsome man and a beautiful woman that had a couple of children, and they were teaching the little ones wildcrafting, literally living in the woods in a teepee they made themselves. And it was hard. You know, I know there was winters and it was cool and it was raining, but you know, they seemed very happy. They decided to do it. And did they say it was easy? No, they had hungry weeks and cold weeks and wet weeks. And I don't know where they are today. I haven't seen them in many years, but I was thinking when at the time I would have loved my parents. You know, my father was stressed with his job to maybe give up the house, and we didn't have a big house, or give up the car. And we didn't have a Ferrari, but, you know, if they were miserable, I would have rather my father didn't work his 6 days a week, you know, 60 hours or 80 hours. And my mother wasn't miserable living in her life, you know, locked in the suburbs in Toronto, where I'm from originally. And they said, well, you know, let's go live in the woods. Let's see what happens. Maybe you'll die of hunger. Maybe you won't. Maybe we'll go somewhere warm. We'll learn something new. Will it be hard? Sure. You know, will we get dirty? Probably. You know, will we die? There's, you know, everyone's going to die anyways. You know, there's no survivors in this plane anyways, until you get to another one, in my opinion. So, you know, so if they had done that and they had shared that kind of experience, I'd be having a different life. You know, I'm not going to complain about anything. I'm who I am and I'm how I am, and they did what they did, and it's all, you know, it's all great because that's how they decided to live their life. So it's all groovy, as they say. But what I'm really getting at is, if you live out of the box and you decide to do something and you take the excuses and you throw them away, like what's a bank going to do if you renege on your mortgage? You know, what are they going to do? You know, there's nothing real in the credit cards anyways. If you have debt, I'm not saying everyone should run away from their responsibilities and their promises. On the other hand, you know, if you made some agreements that were made in let's say shadowy faith from the other side, and you've already been living up to it for 20 years and you're getting in your 40s, 50s and 60s and you need to be free, and they say, well, you can't because you got a mortgage, or you can't because, you know, you got to pay back this, and you should look at that really closely. And is it worth being on the lam and on the run? I'm not saying you have to, I'm not saying you should break any laws, but is it worth it to you to go live secretly in the mountains and get away from that? Maybe. You know, maybe is it worth for you to, you know, to give up the Ferrari and the relationship and the wife and the kids, whether it's the man giving up the relationship or the woman giving up the relationship or both and running? Maybe. Would the kids be better off with you gone? Maybe. Would they be better off with you there? Maybe. You know, and I'm sure I'm triggering a whole bunch of people, but I'm doing that on purpose because, you know, if you break what's considered proper and right, and if you're not happy, in my opinion, then it's not proper and right for you.
Yeah.
Then, and I don't mean the haphazard, oh, I'm having a bad week, so I'm going to run away and, and try Pilates instead of weightlifting or whatever. But, it's more like, if your life is seriously miserable and you need to make some changes, that has to come first, whatever that is, whatever that takes, if you want to be free, and you're not.
Totally. Because all that stuff is just obligation, and obligation is not freedom. You always have choice. And, if you are miserable at your job, then you're probably not doing a good job. If you are miserable at home, you're probably not being a good parent or a good, partner. So you have to look at everything. And when you want to change, guess what? The only thing you need to look at, only one thing, where do I need to change? That's it. That's all you need to look at. Don't look outside. You don't get triggered. Don't look at what other people are doing. Where's it going wrong? Where am I stuffing up? How do I fix it? Pretty simple.
Yep.
So
I hear you.
I know it takes a lot of courage and guts a lot of times to get there and do that, but what's the alternative? Being sad for another 5-10 years, living a life that's someone else's? I mean, put it this way: what if you die before you get your life sorted out? and you're on your deathbed and you realize I never actually lived my life. You don't want to be there. So freedom is the ultimate. Freedom is the only. And if you're not free of your mind and making your own choices freely, you're living someone else's life, and you'll realize it on your deathbed, unfortunately. So, yeah, there you go. That's
And
pretty much it.
and just to say, we started Freedom Shift. There's going to be a link below to the page we've set up. It's got a whole bunch of information. It's going to have another link where you can send us your contact and we'll contact you and we can talk about it. But even over the last little bit, we've had people join our Freedom Shift from 25 to 75, right? And these are just two, opposite ends of, we'll say, the age spectrum. And the 25-year-old, and I'm not going to mention too much because I don't want to give away anybody, but he's got 3 jobs. He's got a kid. He's, he's single, but he's with the mother still. So they're raising a family, and he's thinking of starting a 4th job because he wants to pay the way, and he wants to do our hub, our Freedom Shift hub, because he wants to share what he's learning in relation to what he's sharing to grow with his family. He was inspired by Cambell, he told me originally, so he wants to do some of his own videos and alternative perspectives on his life. He's a young dude, and there's an older dude who's retired who wants to share what he's learned throughout his life. And so what I'm really saying is these are people that have decided, whether they're near the beginning of their lives or the end of their lives, they don't like everything they're doing. They're maybe not giving up their current life, but they're still working towards a new one, and that's why we're here. Maybe Freedom Shift isn't the right fit for you. Maybe it is, but if you're listening to me and Cambell, you've been watching these Odysseys and something's resonating with you, might be worth a shot, might be worth a look-see, might be worth a chat, because probably something we're saying is feeling good to you, or else you wouldn't be here with us today. That would be my guess. Right. And if we're pissing you off and we don't see you ever again, that's fine too. We're not looking for followers. If it's not resonating with you, that's great. That's groovy. There's a million other places that people can do and go and see what they need to do. What I'm really getting at is, if you want to make your way, if you decide to make your way, there's help, nothing but advice, nothing but suggestions of ways that you can help yourself, in my opinion.
Indeed. So just remember, you always get to choose. You get to choose to make your life better or worse every decision, basically. So choose life. I'd say that's the best decision to go with.
All right. Well, Cambell, maybe we've come to an end of this one. Freedom first, choose life. Same to me. Seems to me the same. I will leave our links below. This is going to go on Cambell's channel first, our Oddyssee special here. Summer, winter, freedom first. So he will leave the links below. And if anybody has any comments, suggestions, ideas, wants to join us in our Freedom Shift or anything else, feel free to comment. We're delighted to hear from you.
Even if you want to leave some abuse, feel free to leave it and we will ignore it.
All right, everyone. I love you very much. Nice to talk
awesome
with you again, Cambell. Stay awesome, as Cambell said. Stay free, and we'll see you again soon. We're going to continue our Odyssey of Truth, Escape to Freedom with some more guests coming up, so keep an eye here or there, and there'll be more coming very soon now that we're back in the saddle, and we appreciate your time here today.
Indeed. All right, talk to you all on the next upload. Bye for now.
Can't make me lie to my heart. No one tells me where I should start. Freedom